Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, your host of That Girl the Podcast. I'm an author, performer, 2-time Emmy Award winner, human relationship specialist, and founder of the wellness website loveyouevenmore.com. Each week I bring on inspiring people and experts in their field to have powerful, motivational, and enlightened conversations about relationships, self-development, and how you can live your most authentic life. Follow us for daily updates on myself and the podcast at That Girl the Podcast and at Jackie Brubaker on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and our Patreon page. While you're at it, make sure to check out my new wellness website, loveyouevenmore.com. If you're wanting to dig into developing more self-worth, be healthier about relationships, and learn how to date smarter, go to loveyouevenmore.com and follow us on Instagram at loveyouevenmore. Welcome, Steve Banowetz, to That Girl, the Podcast.
Well, we're going to have to stop because Steve Banowetz is number 5.
Oh, shoot. Oh my God. Why did I say Steve?
No, it's good. I love him.
That is so weird. Okay. Well, it is. And that's my dad's name. Like, that's not an uncommon name to me. Oh my gosh.
Well, Dean is really an uncommon name. I don't know that many of them.
You and my dad. Yeah, you and my dad are the only ones. That is so crazy. Dean Banowetz, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I am very excited to chat.
I'm very excited to chat with you. Dean is a very accomplished hairstylist. He has quite the story of being one of 15, growing up in Iowa, doing all of this crazy stuff that is so all over the place. But his biggest thing is that he is the cream that rises to the top. He knows how to make it happen and how to make your dreams happen, which is what we're going to really focus on today. So I always like to let people take the lead and explain a little about themselves because you always do a better job than I can, especially when saying your first name. I can't believe I called you Steve.
No, I love it. Steve is number 5. It's funny because I do a lot of college lectures, and when, the school owner introduces me and they clap and everything, and I go up and I go, listen, before we get started, here's the deal. Throughout my entire lecture, and I do a 2-hour lecture, I go, whatever question you have, write it down. And at the end of this, we're going to do a 30-minute Q&A. Whatever question you want me to answer, I will answer. My name is Dean. I'm single. Let's get started. But I was born and raised on a farm in Iowa. I'm the 13th of 15 children.
Which is insane. I don't know how your mom did that. Were there multiples or was it
No multiples. 8 boys, 7 girls, all single births. My mom is one of 13. My dad is one of 16. So I had over 500 first cousins combined on both sides. So
God.
I'm used to a lot of people, so I can get along with a lot of different personalities because I'm sure we have every single one of those personalities in my immediate family.
Oh my goodness. So that was when I first met you, you were saying that, or someone said that. And I was like, oh, that's not true. That's impossible. And then you were like, no, really, I am one of 15. That's crazy to me. I grew up here in LA. I'm one of 1. That's it. Just me. I don't even understand siblings. I have friends that are siblings and that's as far as I go. But what is it like to grow up with that many kids?
Well, my mother had a really, really strict rule that we all get along, period. And she was like, what? And this is my whole entire life. Whatever differences you have, you better set them aside because your family is family and you need to be able to work that out. And, it's kind of crazy because I was just telling you, I just flew in from Nashville yesterday doing American Idol auditions, and we're in this service elevator, and there are 17 people in this elevator, and it's tight. Mm-hmm. And I go, can everybody just take a minute? Look around. This is the exact number I grew up with every day of my life. This is how many people were at the dining room table. This is how many people were trying to use the bathroom. This is how many people and they were like, what? And I go, 8 boys, 7 girls. My mom could have been a CEO for any business because she ran a tight ship and the organization was really intense, which is, it has to be. I mean, I always think of Susie Orman when she says, you got to clear the clutter in order to really focus on what you're doing. And I've lived that way my entire life. I try to be neat and organized and try to know where my things are. And so I can take accountability for everything. And that's how my mom was with her children.
I mean, that's not a bad way to be. She did the Marie Kondo of kids.
Trust the Marie beyond. But, you know, it's funny because in this lecture too, I talk a lot about my mom, and she was like this notorious list maker. And she didn't take any crap from anyone, which I loved because she had
who has the time? Kids. Yeah.
And, you know, we'd come home, you know, from this, you know, get off the school bus and get in the house. And each one of us had a list of chores we needed to do. Because my mom was a list maker, like the taskmaster of a list. Mm-hmm. And she's like, there's 2 rules about the list. You go through that list and you pick whichever one you do not want to do, and you do it first. And if you don't pick it, I'll pick it for you.
Yes.
The next thing, every single thing on this list needs to be done. You can do it now or later, but you're going to get it done. Mm-hmm. And so the reasoning, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And she goes, you got to do it first. And I go, why? And she goes, because you can check it off and then you don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. But if you don't check it off, you're going to be thinking about it, and you're going to be dreading it. And inevitably you're going to be messing it. She would always say, fart around. You'd fart around and not finish it. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. But I do that in my regular life. It's crazy. Yeah. And, you know, there's a now I've read this one book, and it's like, there's like a 15-minute challenge, if you will, because that's what my mom had called it. She was like, you know, you got to clean your room up. And we're like, we don't have time. She goes, you got 10 minutes. I'm going to set the clock right now. 10 minutes, go. Let's see how much we can get done. And it's so crazy because that little shift in, you know, taking something that is so task oriented and making it a fun game kind of changed me. Because I do that right now. I'm like, 15 minutes, let's go. Let's do this. But I feel like you kind of have to do that really to keep that focus, you know?
Yeah.
And so just to give you a little bit of history about myself, when I was in high school, I was a junior when my dad passed away, and we were on the farm. And I was kind of at a crossroad because I had many scholarships to sing, because I sang in high school and I made state every year and I did all of that. And
are we both singers? What kind of singing did you do?
I did a lot of quartet stuff. I did a lot of choral stuff. I did some duet and everything within, you know, high school. Wow. And then I sang when I was, this is another thing, but so I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I didn't really want to make music my full-time career because it was a hobby. And, you know, I was good, but I didn't think I was the most amazing singer or whatever. And so I had some scholarships for, you know, different programs, full rides for music, but I just didn't want to do it. But I knew I needed to get away from the family because I knew if I stayed on that farm, I would be milking cows today. And so I did what I thought everybody did, and I joined the Army. And
right. I was in Iowa.
I was 19 years old, and I just needed to get away from the family for a minute because my dad had just passed. There was a lot of responsibility put on me, and I just wasn't ready for all of that. Mm. And, you know, I joined the Army because I needed money for school too. Because, you know, one of 15, our parents are not paying for college.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was day 2 in the Army, and I called my mom and I was like, I don't really think this is the place for me. And she goes, too bad, so sad. You're the one who signed that contract. It's your responsibility. You have to do this.
And like, what is she going to do? You know, like call the Army and be like, my son wants to come home. Like, you can't do that.
Well, you know, and then the thing is, you have all of these guys who are, you know, trying to get out of the Army, and they're whatever, you know, they're acting up and they're doing not cool stuff and they're getting in trouble. And I don't want to do that. I want to act out and get in trouble and get kicked out. That's not my jam either.
Right.
And she was like, well, you have 2 choices. You can make this the best tour of duty or the worst. It is your mindset and you need to change it. And I was like, why is this Oprah Winfrey woman always right? It was making me nuts, but it was true. And I literally shift my mindset and I was like, all right, I'm going to participate, because when you participate, great things happen. When you reject and when you kind of block all of that, that's when you're going to have a lot of negative stuff go down. And I just needed to make it as positive as possible. And because I did change that mindset, I received my first Army Achievement Medal 6 months after I joined the Army. And very few people have done that. And I was just like, very proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my mom again, and I go, Mom, everybody in this battalion kind of hates me. And I go, I thought they'd be happy for me. And she goes, but always know your worst enemy is probably going to be a jealous person.
Yeah.
And just be mindful of that. And moving forward, give them something to be jealous about. And so that's always in the back of my head. I'm not in a vindictive way. I'm always going, all right, you need to go the extra mile because no one else is. Mm-hmm. And if you want to go the extra mile, that's when you're going to stand out against anybody else.
Yes.
And trust me, I'm the 13th of 15. I know what I need to do to get attention.
What would that
sad?
I mean, no, I totally get that. I mean, I'm not one of a sibling tribe, but I've been in entertainment my entire life, including my parents were. And so I was always, and yeah, it's very hard to be noticed in this industry. Okay. So how long were you in the Army for, and how did that wrap up?
So I was in the Army. I had enlisted for 4 years, and in the late 80s, early 90s, I got out of the Army on a RIF, which is a reduction in force. It was like a layoff because of budget cuts. And I was prepping for Desert Storm.
Oh my gosh.
And I was so happy I didn't have to go into any conflict area. And because I was, Soldier of the Year and a decorated veteran, and they wanted me to reenlist, and they were like, oh, we have, this really amazing $5,000 bonus to change your life. And I was like, all right, listen, I'm not going to be a greedy bitch, but $5,000 is not a lot of money to make me to wear green camouflage for another 4 years. Just keeping it real.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not a career soldier. I've done my part. I've served my country. I made it a really amazing time. I met some really great friends and embraced it and enjoyed it. But when it was time, I got out. And I wanted to study art education and art history. So when I came back to Iowa, I started a civilian job working in the military, doing almost the same job that I did, but it was more desk, and it was in an office building. It was nothing like being active duty. But I did that during the day, and I went to school at night for art education and art history. And then midway through, I have my associates, and I reached out to my brother Leon, who's number 12. And now I should explain that we have a Dewey Decimal System within our family. So like, let's say, for example, you and I got married, you'd be 13.0. If we had children, 13.1, 13.2, 13.3. So I will get an email and it'll say 13, blah, 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 blah. And it'll be signed 4.4. So I'm like, Judy Alice Dolores Lloyd. It's my brother Lloyd's fourth kid, Tasha Tanya Brody. It's my niece Brandy. Not even kidding.
That's so smart.
Every time the family communicates, we are Dewey Decimaled out. So
I love it. I
reach out to number 12, Leon, who I'm the closest with. And I was just like, my life needs direction. I mean, I've realized I don't want to teach, and I don't want to work in a museum, and I don't want to work in in any kind of artistic conglomerate. So, and he goes, I really think you should do hair. And I was like, what? Because I've never talked about doing hair. And he was like, you used to braid the tails on the cows when you were supposed to be milking. Just try it. And I go, seriously? And he goes, listen, you are incredibly artistic. You have concepts for design, focus, silhouette, shape, balance, color theory, all of that. You get it. And he goes, you're one step ahead. And he goes, plus you've got a great personality. You would be fun to work with. And at the time, he was an art director for a magazine in Dallas. And he goes, I'm going to tell you right now, I spend a lot of money on hair and makeup people. You could make a really great living. And I was like, really? And I was like, okay. And then I honestly, within 2 weeks, I signed up at Bill Hill's College of Cosmetology in Davenport, Iowa, in the back of a furniture carpet warehouse. And I'm not,
Oh my God.
it's hard to explain, but I walked in and I felt safe. I felt like I was where I needed to be. Like I was with my tribe, and I was just like, and I didn't know what the hell a Marcel curling iron was, but I was like, I'm in this to win this.
Yeah.
And that's how the beauty school started. And it was that was a great experience as well.
So you come out of the army, you come out of your own familial army of people,
right?
And like, you had never thought about doing this at this point. Like, what are your thoughts about doing hair in general? Like, what does that all encompass? Like, I love that you said, like, I found my people, I felt safe. Like, that's so important when I think you're going into a career, is like, oh, wow, these people are like me. I feel like I'm not a fish out of water, which you'll feel if you're in the wrong place. Did you feel
Correct.
like a fish out of water in the army?
When I changed my mindset, I did not feel like a fish out of water. I felt like a fish swimming.
Okay. Good.
And I felt, there's certain things I struggled with in the army, because the physical fitness is intense.
Oof, yeah.
Intense. And that was my biggest issue. And and in the army, they have a fat boy program.
What?
Well, that's what we call it.
What is that?
They literally, if you're a little overweight, they'll start tape measuring you and weighing you every week. I felt like I was on a sitcom, and the network execs were making me measured out. Anyway.
Yeah, right. You're on oh my gosh. Oh, okay.
But I was like, and then my friend would eat like crazy. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm trying to get out on the fat boy program. I was like, first of all, we don't have Google. How the hell do you know there's a fat boy program? Like, I was so amazed. And I was on the strictest diet. I could not weigh more than 202 pounds at 4. And I'm 6'4.5".
Whoa.
And I remember we would run in the morning, and I was the color guard. So I'm holding the flag, and I'm just like, it was always so intense, but that was my biggest struggle. Everything else, like tactical mission, like weaponry, everything else I excelled at greatly, but it was the physical fitness because, growing up in the army, we never worked out because we worked on the farm.
Yeah.
So it was a different mindset to be working out, to work out, and not working and working out, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. It's very different.
And so that was a big shift for me. And that was a big struggle. And I remember I worked incredibly hard, and I would just barely pass every test. And I'm like, good Lord, I can't be this bad. They pushed me, which is what I needed. My discipline, my self-motivation, everything in the army I literally learned so many things. Yeah. Like when I got out of the army, my family was like, oh my God, you're a changed person.
Wow.
And my niece was like, you're not such an asshole anymore.
There's so much respect happening. Well, I think that's like amazing. I mean, I think, whether you've been in the army or not, it's definitely so discipline making, and just the respect that you have to give the people that you're with consistently and constantly. But something I feel like you were already learning coming from such a large family too.
Right. Well, and it was implemented constantly in the family, but also remember, my childhood was completely disrupted with my dad's illness. He had cancer. Yeah. And so all those treatments, you just start to jump in and help wherever you can with healthcare with him. Cause I remember we were taking care of him. Plus we had the farm stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like you just didn't have an option. You just stepped up and you made it happen. So that was already instilled in me. It was just the other disciplines of doing it before I was asked, as my mother would say. Yeah,
no. Okay. So you're in beauty school, and what happens after that?
Well, beauty school, a couple of random things. I used to work at UPS at night. I would go to beauty school, learn about hair during the day. And then at night I would work at UPS loading trucks, which was a grueling job. Like I've never sweat so much in my life. And they love to hire the previous military because we're very disciplined and we'd like to, we're all about competitions or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was there for about a year, and it was just, I just needed to get money. And I was like, you know what, this is really probably not for me. And there was a dinner theater in Rock Island, Illinois, just probably about 10 minutes from where the beauty school is in Iowa. And I auditioned to be a singing and dancing bootlegger, which is a waiter. And
Awesome.
our responsibility was, singing happy birthday and anniversary to people, and we'd have our own section, and it was a buffet. So we were responsible for drinks and desserts. And before the main stage show, we had a bootlegger review. So every food server, we're in our tux performance waiter outfits. And we literally there was a table, we'd lay our trays down and go up on stage, sing and do this whole review for this new show. And it'd be, like 15, 20 minutes of song and dance and little medleys and whatnot. And we literally, as we filed off, we'd pick up our trays, go get desserts and salads and start bringing them back and around. And I love that job so much. And I have the dearest friends still to this day. It's really tight with a lot of them. And I did that for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And once I finished beauty school, I'd do hair during the day and I would be a singing and dancing waiter at night.
Aww.
And it was at Circa where I had a lot of opportunities because the wardrobe guy, Greg Hyatt, he goes, "Hey, Dean, I need some help with wigs. Could you help me with wigs?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we haven't learned any of that in beauty school, but I'm sure. Yes." Because when you do hair and makeup, you say yes, right?
Yes.
And I remember he needed help. He needed me to do hair on a new tour, A Closer Walk with Patsy Cline.
Oh, wow.
So it's period hair. It's a regional dinner theater that has zero budget. So when he handed me the wigs, they were literally Halloween wigs.
Ooh.
And this was before any social media there was no Google. There was nothing via the internet. It was like, oh, I need to go to the library and see if I can find a book on how to make a wig or how to do, there was just nothing on it.
Yeah.
And it was funny because this morning I'm looking through and this photocopied book is from there because the wardrobe guy was like, I think there's a book in the Costume House library on wigs or something. And I was like, get it. I need a photocopy. I need to make a binder. And I asked the local drag queen to help me learn how to do these. And it was a small, it's Iowa. There's not a lot of drag queens and his wigs weren't really that great, but he taught me the process of, using a steamer and styling and all of that. And I mean, were the wigs amazing? They were amazing enough for this tour.
Yeah.
But that kind of started my whole entertainment buzz. Being a singing and dancing waiter, I love that entertainment part of it. I love the performance of it. I love the magic of creating a stage to create that imaging, that to create the character and so on and so forth. And that's how I kind of got that entertainment bug, to be honest with you. And then when I started doing wigs and I was on the roster. So anytime an actor would come in for the theater and they needed a haircut, they would send them to me. So I started to do the crew and staff and it was just a really great time of my life. Honestly, we're performing, I'm meeting the most amazing, talented people. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is feeding my soul. Mm-hmm. It's not feeding it a full meal, but it's a nice little appetizer. And so that's kind of how I got the bug. And just to kind of fill this all in, one of my friends challenged me to a goal that I had about doing hair for TV and film. But in Iowa, realistically, that's not the place to be. Mm-hmm. And so I did some research. I found Susan Lipson, who has Onset Motion Picture Hair Academy. I don't know if she still has it, but she had it then. And I came out to LA and I learned some different ways to do hair for TV and film. And she was kind of a big champion for me because she gave my name to a ton of people. Oh. And I was still living in Iowa and I would get calls from like Warner and Fremantle and different production companies, Telepictures. And I reached out to her and I go, are you giving my name to people? And she goes, yes, you need to be in LA. And I was like, I'm pretty rooted in Iowa. And she goes, just apply for one job and I'll leave you alone. And I go, okay. And I applied at the television show Extra, and I was asked to come out for an interview. And I came out for the interview. I did the host hair for the show. And I always have an Iowa moment because there were like 8 million people who watch the show on a daily basis. There are 3.5 million people who live in the entire state of Iowa.
Wow.
You know, it's that Iowa moment. I have them all the time.
Yeah.
But I just was like, when I came for the interview, I was like, I just have to be me because I can't change that. They're either going to love me or not, and both are okay. And once I said that, I just was in a groove. I was like in my zone, you know, and that host for the show was not very nice. But I was like, oh, I was in the Army. I can handle drill sergeants. Right. And that's really how the TV world started, because they offered me that job. And Valentine's Day 2000 was my very first day of work in Los Angeles.
Aww.
I like to say it was my sweetheart job.
It was your sweetheart job. That's so cool. And like, to me, when I hear this, it just feels that you are so on your path and you're just saying yes to the opportunities that come up. And you're not, I mean, maybe you were second guessing certain things like, oh, wow, I just got this job. I guess I'm moving to LA now. And like that, you know, I'm sure that was terrifying or exciting or all kinds of things.
All of the above.
Right. But, you know, I think when you really are trying to change your life and do what your soul is wanting to do, right? Like you said, like, oh, it was a nice appetizer in Iowa, but it wasn't the full meal. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a really big moment where you're given these opportunities to have the big meal, right? How did you know, like, okay, yes, it's time. I'm going to go. I mean, besides getting the job, which is such a huge sign of like, yeah, you should go. But like, how did you make that decision?
Well, every single one of my friends is like, if you do not do this, it's going to be a really bad choice if you don't, because this does not happen to very many people. And so I'm like, recognize it. And then I was like, I'm moving clear across the country, and I didn't have very much money at all. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was driving like a 22-year-old piece of crap Toyota. And it was great because God knows it's probably still running somewhere. Yeah. But I had 2 friends in LA, and they were like, live with us till you can figure out where you want to be. I borrowed one of their cars. I remember my sister had just started selling cars, and she goes, I'm going to look for a car for you. And she found a car, loaded up the car with a bunch of my stuff. One of my friends drove it out. I still had my salon in LA, so I was flying back and forth once a month to do clients, and it was becoming difficult. And my friends in Santa Monica, where I stayed, they refused to let me pay for rent for 3 months. And that saved me.
Yeah.
Because rent in LA can really rip you apart if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I leaned into it because everything, and it's kind of hard to explain because every single aspect of my life, hair, family, salon, studio, living, all of it interlocked together so perfectly that I didn't plan it. I just was like, I remember people would go, what are you doing? I go, I'm releasing it to the universe because I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to lean into this and I'm going to go with it. Mm-hmm. And I was when they hired me, I was very specific. I have these obligations that I need to make sure that I'm available for, that I have pre-commitments to, and then I'm yours. Yeah. And it all happened so seamlessly that I knew I needed to continue to do it because it was beyond me. Every single thing fit together.
That's such a huge, huge piece of advice because, you know, we get caught up in this whole hustle culture, right? Of like, do. And I don't think that's always necessarily the answer. I think it's do what's being placed in front of you and then do it really well, which you are a prime example of. And then be open to what the universe brings you and make the decision as it comes, because your whole life up until this point was so divinely planned. And you just, even with the Army, you're like, I don't want to do this, but you did it anyway. And you did the best you could. And everything else, you just said, yes. And I also feel like there's a tremendous amount of humility with you and what you've done in your life. It's not about like ego or I'm better than this or whatever. You're working at UPS, like, and doing all of the above, I think that releasing to the universe is so strong and so important, but also just being able to like trust your gut and not because something I think people get really hung up on is this my gut telling me to do something, or is this my fear? And what I always think is, if it's my gut, it's a very gentle, easy, seamless situation. Or if it's fear, it's coming from a place of scarcity, lack. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I should do, so I should just do this right now. And that's not at all what you're describing. So,
well, and when you say listen to your gut, it's I'm very intuitive about situations, people, things, opportunities. And there's been one opportunity that I really wanted to do. And after the first big production meeting, I was like, I got a pang, and it wasn't a fear pang. It was like, the best way for me to describe it is every department was individual. And you can't make a great show if it's like that. You've got to cohesively work together. I'm always telling people I have an 80-20 rule. Excuse me, as long as I'm happy with 80% of my creative, I'm good. Because I got to bend on 20% for makeup and wardrobe and production. And that's cool. Because they're like, oh, you know what? We would love to do this, this, and this. I go, awesome. Oh, we're going to have high collars. Great. I'll take the hair up. So that's all part of the 20%. But as long as I have my concept and my idea of working together with each one of these departments, it's going to be an awesome experience.
Yeah.
And I could tell right away, they were like, oh, this has to be this way, and this has to be this way. And I was like, well, then if you need somebody to just paint by the numbers, you should get that person. But if you want somebody to create a look and do something that's intricately within our realm of expertise, great, then let it give us that reign and let us do. And I was like, I have no regrets. Well, I have one regret. A celebrity wanted to date me, but I was too young. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But no regrets on it, because when I let go of that project, and it was a big project, I was like, you know what? I have zero regrets about doing that. I actually feel really good that I'm not doing this particular show. Yeah. And I was like, I kind of had to like really unpack that, because it's a great opportunity. Listen, there's thousands and thousands of people that would love to do what we do. And I understand that. I don't take it for granted, but I also don't want to be in an environment that's not going to be conducive of releasing all of our creative abilities, because I think that's when real magic comes together.
I think when you hire the right people and you give them this is what we're looking for, but let them go, like you're explaining, let them be the creatives that they are, and then let them all work together. It's a beautiful situation, but it's that releasing control, whether it's coming from the higher ups or whatever, or within the department. Like, you've got to be a team, but you've also got to feel safe enough to be creative in that team.
Well, and that's my family. I mean, it was never one person's way or the highway. We work together as a family. We work together as a group unit. All of us have our strengths and weaknesses, and we utilize that to the best of our ability. Even now, to this day, if there's anything that happens within the family, there's certain people within that jump in to do their specialty. And my specialty is very different, but my love language is taking care of people, because that's what we do. And that feeds my soul. Yeah. And, I'm not the one that is going to be making the arrangements for everything, but I will make sure everybody looks good when they're going.
Yeah. Your strengths.
And so that's what I love when in hiring a team too, and just being in that diversification of talent and ethnicity and culture and talent. I love it.
Yeah. So when people are, and I'll just keep it broad because whether you're creative or you're more of like a techie or whoever, what is your biggest piece of advice when you are trying to follow what your soul really wants to do, but you're scared?
Well, fear is the biggest crippler of all of us, really. And I can't remember the speaker who said this, but like there's been many times where your mind is just full of, oh my God, this and this and this, I'm worried about this, or I have anxiety, whatever. Make a list of all of that, list it out, and then go through that list and put a check mark next to the thing you can control. If you can control it, then work on that. Yeah. If it's out of your realm, release it. And in all aspects of my life, I feel like I do that constantly because, all right, well, that is beyond me. That doesn't even really have anything to do with me. So I need to let it go.
That's a really great point because, people take things so personally, and that is not it. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the other situations happening all together. So, when you do get rejected for something or you don't get the job you want or the relationship or whatever, most of the time, it's just because that wasn't really right for you and it wasn't personal. And I think that's so important to remember.
And I will say, I don't necessarily, I have a love-hate relationship with this phrase I'm about to tell you, but Katy Perry said it on Idol during an audition. And she was said, listen, and they had just said no to a contestant. And they go, listen, sometimes, rejection is the Lord's protection. And I understand that, but that rejection isn't protecting you from anything. It's actually helping you develop. And it's important that you don't get everything you need or want. You have to work for it. Yeah. And I think that's really important. It is in the moment, like, when I think we've all been ghosted by some dates, but but it has nothing to do with me. It has zero to do with me because I know I'm enough. Yep. I'm more than enough. And when you start to think that way, you start to attract that way where I am enough. And you start to really get these interesting opportunities that come your way just by being open and available.
Absolutely. And trusting yourself. I mean, what I'm hearing so much of is just, I am enough as I am right here, right now. And I will attract the right people and the right circumstances that match that vibration.
Right.
Right. And so then the people that are in your life, let's just use people as an example, or even a work situation, whatever, will suddenly start unattaching from you. And again, that's like rejection is God's protection. You've got to just let it go. Like you might never know why. You just might not ever know why. And that's fine.
Because it really probably has nothing to do with you.
Right. Again, it's not personal. It's just the Godfather all over the place. It's just not personal.
Now, and just to build onto that too, when you say rejection is the Lord's protection, well, whatever you've been rejected by or whomever, the thing is you have to utilize that as a ground point to grow more. So like right now, this is where we are. You've been rejected for this job. Well, all right. Well, let's unpack that a little bit. Why do you think you were rejected? Well, maybe my skill level for wigs isn't where it needs to be. Well, great. Now you have an opportunity to take some classes to learn and develop that skill. Yeah. And develop it above and beyond what you ever thought you could do. Right. But you've got to put in the work.
Because it's not about natural talent. Like there's two things here.
Right.
It's not always about natural talents. It's also about your attitude. You've got to have a good attitude. You've got to be a team player. You can't just be like, I'm the best, look at me. But also, even if you do have great natural talent and some training, like you just said, if you get rejected for a job, it's a perfect time to be like, cool, I wasn't ready for that level yet. Let me work more and be humble enough to say, like, I need to do more studying. I need to do whatever it is I need to do to
Right.
get better,
But that's why
period.
you need to unpack it, because whatever it is, maybe you need to work on your coding, maybe whatever.
Whatever.
Maybe you need to work on your eyebrow arch. Maybe you need to work on your blending, whatever it is. The thing is you need to go, okay, well, I was rejected from this. I know I'm enough personally, mentally, but talent wise, what could I do that would make me more valuable for that position? And it could be any realm of things, but you also have an idea of what that is because this is your expertise.
Right.
You're like,
right.
oh, you know what? I need to work on a lace front more so. I need to work on, other situations in making styles last. And I'm just looking at it from my point of view and my perspective of what I unpack for myself. And I don't want to project any of my stuff on somebody else because I know what I need to improve on. Like when I'm on set and somebody goes, oh, I would love to do a braid on this side. I was like, okay, what kind of braid? Because I can do braids, but I have to really focus on it because there's so many, and it's the intricacy and it's that, and it, my mom was a big quilter and she could stitch for hours, but she had it down and she would switch a stitch. And like, if she's going from a cross stitch to a whip stitch, she would say it out loud.
Yeah.
And I've started to do a lot of that where it's, I think there's a book, Checklist Manifesto, where they have checklists of doing stuff, which my mom had done our entire life. But it's like that checklist of things. Okay, well, I need to improve this. So let me just take that to the next level. So I'm more valuable to myself as well. Because once you invest in yourself for new training or classes or whatever it is, all that does is elevate you to the next level, which is where we want to be.
Exactly. You can't just get comfortable. And so many people do. They just get very comfortable at their level. And then they wonder, why is my life so boring? Or why am I not moving? Why is nothing changing? And then something does change in the wrong way because they've been too comfortable. Maybe they get laid off, whatever. It's so important to just I always say the word humble, but like just keep that humility of like, I can always be better. Even if I'm good right now, that's awesome. That's great. But like, I can always be better.
Completely.
So you and I both are singers and I love that. I'm going back into musical theater after taking a very long hiatus. And
great.
Thank you. And I have given myself this year to just train in acting, train in singing, train in dancing, just like really, dust everything off and commit. And so just a couple of weeks ago, I put a self-tape together for a musical and I was like, oh, how fun. This is so much easier. I don't even have to go in anymore. I can just be like, here's my tape. And I sent it off and I was like, it's good. But is it going to get me the part? I'm not sure. And if I don't get the part, I'm not going to take it personally. I'm just going to keep training because maybe I'm just not ready yet. Maybe I'm just not at that level yet. Totally okay. Or B, maybe they had other people they were already thinking of for this part, even though they're doing auditions. And it was so nice to like let go of the rejection because clearly I didn't get it. But like it was so nice to let go of the rejection and be like, great. Like this is also probably working out too, because it would have been so far to travel. And how could I do that with work? Like the things that are meant for you always do find you. But again, it's so much a part of like what you're doing to help yourself. But
it's also you putting that tape together. You've already started to go, oh, you know what I could do? The lighting could be better here, or I could do this better, or I could, whatever. Yeah. We start to, look at our stuff deeply and kind of reassess it. But I think with that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but anytime you submit something and you put it out there, the biggest thing for me is just that vulnerability of being judged. Because I just, one of the new things that I started was, I'm starting a Hollywood hair guy course where you can sign up online. And I just did the first one. It's on how to make, really avant-garde sheets of hair and so on and so forth. And, we did the photo shoot. I did it step by step. And then you release that and people have signed up, but there's a lot of vulnerability that comes with that because art is subjective. Everybody looks at it differently. Everybody looks at your singing voice differently than mine or whatever. Your dance moves. Everybody, it's all art. It is completely subjective, which is what it needs to be, because you're not going to make everybody happy, and that's okay. As long as you feel comfortable with what you've done to the best of your ability. Because when you know better, you do better. So
exactly. And also with that, just not copying other people. If you're still copying other people, you haven't quite found yourself yet and found your art, like what you're really giving. So, gosh, Dean, I love talking to you. Tell people more about this course and also how they can find you and all of the things.
My big thing is Instagram, which my handle is dbano. And the Instagram has all the information on the courses. It's really interesting. And this is what's really, we're changing things up because I've never done a course before. I mean, I filmed everything in my workshop studio and I when you live in your zone of excellence, like I can run a show with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And I can do a haircut with my eyes closed. I can do all of that because that's my zone of excellence, but my zone of genius is creating.
Yeah. And
we don't often get an opportunity to be in that zone. And I was in that zone for this course, and it felt good. It felt challenging, and it felt really rewarding. And I was like, I haven't felt that way for a while. I remember I felt that way when I started to do shows because I was learning and I was really perfecting. But that creating where I get to do a concept, I get to do this visual interpretation of what's in my head from concept to completion and build it. It's like, listen, it's like a baby. You have developed it, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of shooting and a lot of editing, and it takes all of that. But the one thing that I know is it made me feel really good. And it made me feel different, like I was transferring my education to the next generation. And even though I'm not that old and I still have a long way to go, but it's important that you openly give your information. And I'm always like, there's like, why are you giving all your trade secrets? I go, because when you give them away, you get them back tenfold. Like, listen, there's a million people who can do your hair, but no one can replace Dean Banowetz, period. And that's been my mindset.
Yeah.
Because there's people looking for exactly what I have to offer. And that's my mantra. I say it all the time. When I say it, I receive it.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Oh my gosh. Go find Dean. You're a hairstylist and you want to learn more about hair. Go take his courses. Just go follow him. He's such a great dude.
I try to keep it entertaining.
He does. You do. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This is very fun.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review. We really rely on this to help get the podcast out there. Also, make sure to watch the video version on YouTube at That Girl the Podcast.